Should be a great battle. Let's hear from both managers, Mikel Arteta and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, ahead of this one.
Well, I think every game is completely different. They have the capacity and the quality to beat any side in the world. We know that we're going to have to be at our best. The demands of these games are going to be huge. We need to be better than what we were on Tuesday again to beat them, and that's the way we're going to prepare. I'm really impressed with the resilience that we have shown as a team, and who we have been through those difficult moments. I think that's really important. You really see the people, the players, the characters, and the values of a club when things are not going well. When things are going well, it's easy. Everybody wants to be in the front page and smile to it. But I think it's been a really good test to test again our character, but as well how we communicate and how we deal with pressure. And I must say that I've been really impressed with that.
There's no time to feel sorry for yourself, and there's a game already on Saturday. Other teams have been through or have lost games and had to bounce back. We have done it before. This group of players have done it so many times, and I expect our performance to be much, much better on Saturday, of course. And we got Arsenal, Southampton, Everton, 3 massive games for us, so we cannot feel sorry for ourselves for too long. When I see them in the morning, I expect them to get the mood back up and the focus on Saturday.
Well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is keeping a positive mood as ever despite that defeat to Sheffield United midweek. It's a classic encounter, this one, isn't it, Leanne? Arsenal against Manchester United. Not quite the title-chasing match that it once was in the past, but who's it more important to get a win for in this one?
Yeah, I watched the highlights back there, and I think I've been at loads of those games, and it was so one of those fixtures, when it comes out at the beginning of the season, this is the fixture I used to look for. I played for Arsenal for 12 years, growing up a Man United fan, but I don't think I still think it has that edge, but not the same as it used to have. The Roy Keane against Vieira and Sir Alex against Arsene Wenger, I think it's changed a little bit, but obviously not having the fans there will make a difference, but I still think it's going to be an important game for both teams. Who do I think is more important to? I'm going to say Man United, because I'm a Man United fan, but I think just because we lost to Sheffield United doesn't mean we're going to lose against Arsenal.
The rotation that Ole and lots of managers are doing this season, but to change your back two, whether it's Maguire and Bailly, Maguire and Tuanzebe, Maguire and Lindelof, why does he constantly change that? You look at Man City go to West Brom and he kept Diaz and Stones together, even bringing Laporte on as a left back. Why does he keep changing that back two? Because leagues are won on defences.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think defenders potentially are the ones who can string a lot of games together. So I think that's maybe a fault. That's something.
Was it a mistake?
Yeah, I think it was. No, I think you saw the lack of communication in the winning goal. I mean, it's extraordinary defending for a team that's been playing or getting such good results, I should say, in the last couple of months. But he is still building something. I think we have to be reasonable and say, because of what an unusual season it's been, because of the fact that they've pulled out some great results in the last couple of months, I don't think we can put the cart before the horse for United. The fact that they're still in with a chance of actually winning the Premier League at this point is pretty extraordinary when you think about it, when you think about the first month and a half of the season.
So, Leandro, you just put that defeat against Sheffield United down to just one of those one-off games?
Potentially, but I have said, I said we turned a corner the other day and we seem to be looking more consistent, and then we go and lose to Sheffield United. But I am going to put it down to one of those games. Going back to the defence and stuff I think if Harry Maguire wasn't our captain, I think at times he would have been dropped to the bench. I think Lindelof's done an okay job. I wasn't his biggest fan, but I think Eric Bailly, if he can stay healthy and not be injured, I think that would make a difference, because you don't want to change your back line. But I just think this game, coming up to this game, I'm just going to put the last one down to a bad performance, but at times again it looked shambolic, and I go back to that 6-1 defeat against Tottenham, and at times this game looked like that. The defence looked like all over the place, and David De Gea for me has to be more commanding there. I don't think the disallowed goal should have stood either, and I don't think it was down to the referee why we lost that game. I think it just wasn't a good performance for us, and good luck to Sheffield United, and they deserved it, I thought.
The big one for me is Cavani. Why not start Cavani? He has to. He has to start. That number 9. He's the number 9.
Why do you think he didn't play him?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know whether it's hierarchy. I don't know whether it's that they feel they're easing Cavani back into football, because he did have a lot of time out of the game. If you think the French season stopped in the middle of March and he didn't play again until
he's fit now. He's fit now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's not just about the goals that he offers. It's about the presence. It's about the pressing. He makes life an absolute nightmare for defenders. And he has to be a key player for them going into the back end of the season. When you think that he's had so much more time off than most of these players, who've barely had time to go to the toilet between last season and this, and he's someone who should have a lot more in his legs.
Depends how long you're in the toilet for, Andy, doesn't it?
I suppose.
Leanne, as a forward yourself, what impresses you so much about Cavani since his addition?
I think we're just a different team. He's an out-and-out number 9. It's, Marcus Rashford, Martial, but not at the same level as Cavani when it comes to his movement. We're a different team when he plays, and his presence when he enters the field, we're a different team. And I think with regards to Martial's not very consistent. Rashford has done good in the last couple of games, but still, when Cavani gets a chance, you know he's going to score. Sometimes when we get in those positions, I'm not quite sure we're going to score. And I think we've been playing without a number 9 for a long time now. When Ibrahimovic was there, Lukaku, great, but at the same time, I think he's come in and done fantastically well, and I do think he has to play. I think we're a different team when he plays, and I hope that he gets to play more often, and he's one of the first names down on the team sheet because he should be.
In terms of Manchester United's form this season as well, Andy, they've built so much from their away results. They've just been outstanding away from home, so they'll be looking at this one, and Arsenal will probably be slightly worried about their visit to the Emirates.
Yeah, I agree. I'd preempt your predictions, Robbie, because I know that's the apex of the show, but I do think it's hard to back against United when they're on the road. I mean, at Old Trafford, you never really know quite what you're going to get, but the fact that they're a primarily counter-attacking side, and I know people are a bit obsessed with Manchester United tradition and should United be playing like this, if that's the way they can get the best out of it, well, yeah, I suppose. But I think if that's the way they can get the best out of this current set of players, then fine. I think it suits them. But I think it's very difficult to back against.
A lot of people were saying, weren't they, that team was good enough to beat Sheffield United. On paper, you would argue it is, but I think that was a bit unfair to Sheffield United because this season it's been fine margins they've lost game by. They've done ever so well in games, but the odd goal they lost by. So it was good enough to win it. The big surprise for me as well, Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
He has been superb.
But
do you know what I think's happened? Since Telles has come in, I don't think it's a coincidence that Luke Shaw has upped his game because he, for me, I've not been his biggest fan, I'm not going to lie. I think Mourinho was very harsh to him when he was at Man United. Certainly talked about things personally about him. But at the same time, I think he's been brilliant the last few games, and I hope that continues.
Yeah. In terms of that position, though, at left back at Manchester United, Telles, it seems a bit strange, doesn't it? Because they've brought him in, and then Luke Shaw gets back into the team, and now you don't really know who he's going to pick in that position.
No, you don't. And in a couple of games, they've even gone with the both, which I'm not convinced is necessarily the best option. I mean, Telles is primarily an attacking left back, but when you've got an attacking left back, I don't think you should cave into the temptation to play them a little bit further forward, because the reason they're so good is because they can burst from a little bit deeper. They can build up that momentum, and I think he's no different. If it takes him a while to settle in the Premier League, and of course he's had coronavirus as well, which can be potentially draining. We've not really talked about the effects of that in football. We expect the minute they're out of quarantine, they're fine, they're back to normal. I don't really think that is the case, and I guess we'll find out more about that as time goes by. But if you think of the start that, say, a legend like Patrice Evra had at Manchester United, he had a terrible start at Manchester United before becoming before becoming absolute club legends, both of them. So I think if it takes him a little bit of time, of course, if it helps Luke Shaw along the way as well, because he's signed to a big contract, they can't get rid of him in a hurry, and that's a good thing. But Telles, I almost think would be better in one of the better Manchester United sides of the past, one that was a little bit more front foot rather than one that wants to play.
Fergie team, then, you mean?
Yeah, probably.
Well, Arsenal losing against Southampton in the FA Cup with a weakened side. Then they play a very strong side in the league, won that game. Do you think that Arteta, has made his priorities quite clear that he wants that Champions League place?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit too soon, to be honest. I don't think they're going to make that Champions League spot, but at the same time, it's amazing the likes of Saka and Smith Rowe, how much they're carrying this team. How fantastic is it? We've got these young players that Arteta, I think the Smith Rowe one, everyone knew he was a good player, but I do think it's the last throw of the dice with Arteta, because Arsenal have been playing without a number 10. Without, obviously, we don't need to talk about Ozil, but at the same time, they have been playing without that player. Smith Rowe's come in there. Pepe and Willian haven't been good enough this year. Aubameyang's not been scoring, and Lacazette's very inconsistent, but Saka's just been amazing, hasn't he, this year, and what a player he is. So I'm hoping that we keep him quiet this weekend, but I can't see it.
Well, that performance compared to the FA Cup was far better. Why do you think that he played a weakened side against Southampton in the FA Cup then? Because I'm like Leanne, I don't think they'll get Champions League football, so playing that stronger team in the league, what is the ambition then of Arsenal this season? Because they were the holders of the FA Cup.
Yeah, I don't know, Robbie, if Arsenal are quite good enough to game the calendar, to choose which games they're going to play stronger sides for. And I think you hit on it earlier when you talked about the amount of rotation. I think we're in this completely unprecedented season, this completely unprecedented situations, in that you're going to have to change the team as a coach more than you want to, and sometimes you're going to get it wrong. So I think we have to give Arteta and teams in general a little bit of a pass when they do get it wrong on occasion. I think it's a shame, and he'll probably look back on it and think, do I regret letting the FA Cup go like that? But you could say for Arteta, in winning it in the first place, especially against Chelsea in the final, it served its purpose. They do want to go on and qualify for Europe through the league. Like Leanne, I don't know if they're quite good enough to do that yet, but Arsenal are still in a development stage, and I think we have to be a little bit patient with them.
Leanne just mentioned the turnaround in Arsenal's form lately, and a lot of that is due to the impressive performances of Bukayo Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe. But is Emile Smith-Rowe now got a bit of competition for his place after the signing of Martin Ødegaard, and what can we expect to see from him, Andy?
Potentially he does have a bit of competition, and I think that's no bad thing, because the way that Smith-Rowe has got to the point of dominating games in the Premier League has really surprised me. I think it's clear that the talent was there, but he struggled to get off the ground at Leipzig when he was on loan there. Then he was on loan at Huddersfield, which, with all due respect to them, is a much lower level. So to have come to that point where all of a sudden he's pulling Premier League teams about, clearly a lot of work has gone on in training and with the coach and all the rest of it, but to be able to do that in the Premier League so relatively quickly is amazing. So I don't think we should expect him to do it every week, so Ødegaard can take the pressure off him, but Ødegaard can also flourish from deeper positions. So there's no reason why the two of them shouldn't play together. But Ødegaard, you're talking about a guy who, up until the pandemic cut-off in La Liga last season, probably outside Real Madrid and Barcelona, he was the best player in the league for the first 2/3 of that season. He was that good. He's got such an eye for a pass. I think he'll really suit the way that Arsenal want to play. So even if they haven't got an option to buy him, even if they're essentially babysitting him for Real Madrid until the end of the season, they don't need to worry about that. Just think about how much they can get out of him now, and everyone will benefit, because he feels that he should have been playing more under Zinedine Zidane, and he'll be really ready to seize this opportunity.
Sounds like an exciting signing. Leanne, let's get your prediction for this one then. Which way do you think it's going to go?
I have to say Man United, of course. Obviously I spent 12 amazing years at Arsenal, but I'm going to go Manchester United. Just because we lost to Sheffield United doesn't mean that I think we'll take this forward. So I'm going to go 3-1 United. Cavani hat-trick.
Andy?
I'll go 2-1 United.
Okay, United wins for both. We'll see Robbie's predictions a little bit later on.